The following program is rated TVMA. This program may contain strong opinions, explicit language, and possible adult themes. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the Smoke Free Radio Network or its affiliates. This program is meant for mature adult audience. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Hey folks, P. Basardo here, and you're listening to the Smoke Free Radio Network.
So it's early in the morning. Well, not too early. The shops don't open that early in the morning. At any rate, it's off and going for our first edition of the Roadside Assistance. I got the technical bag packed up. Hopefully I got everything in that. Got Alvin all packed up. Alvin is our car. We named it. That's Alvin. That's my road warrior kind of car. Anyhow, let's take a look and see where we're going to be going for the day.
Taking a quick look at the map, even though I've been to Rocco's many different times, it shows that it's not really that far of a jaunt for our first trip out for Roadside Assistance. Nice place, nice clean plaza, easy to get into and easy to get out of. But let's take a look inside the store. On the shelves, it's all well displayed, well packed, well lit. They've got consumables. They have some of the pod systems available, placed in the back, but their hardware is kept in cases over to the side, which makes it for them a little bit easier to display and to see for customers. In the back, plenty of seating for people to be able to stop and enjoy vaping, as well as some nice gaming equipment for any of those game nights. Let's go talk to Michelle.
All right. So here we are, Roadside Assistance. We are down at Rocco's in Boardman.
Yes.
What's the address down here?
1235 Boardman Canfield Road, Suite 2.
And you are right off of what, 224?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And the lady that I'm talking with right now, one of my favorites, my all-time favorite, honestly, it's Michelle. She's the manager here at Rocco's. And it was one of the reasons I wanted to come down here, because I'm like, this has got to happen. There's no
Agreed.
There's no other way. This has got to happen. You know, you and I have spoken a lot previously.
Yeah.
And I know that some of this stuff we're going to end up rehashing. When you have new people coming in,
yeah,
how do you go about finding out what kind of flavor profile that particular person has?
Well, sometimes it's quite the process because they have no idea what they're going to like, because no vape juice is just like a cigarette. So if they want something that's just like a cigarette, you got to go the tobacco route. And then some people want the farthest thing from a cigarette that they can get. So then they want something fruity or desserty. So really, honestly, I kind of have them try, this is what a few fruits will taste like, this is what a few desserts will taste like, and here's what tobaccos taste like. What do you like more? And then they kind of go from there, and then we try to narrow down the flavor profile and get them something they like. That's the process I do.
Do you find that more people like fruits and desserts, or more people are into something wild like pixie sticks? Or
the candies always do really well. And the fruits, I would say the tobaccos are the least, but I definitely have a good following for tobacco juice. There are certain people who love the tobaccos, and especially if it's mixed with a little coffee or cream or something like that. But yeah, more fruits and desserts for sure, though.
So what, like a caramel tobacco
Yeah.
or
Like I have some vanilla coffee tobaccos, some toffee coffee tobaccos, things like that. Yeah.
nice.
They're tasty.
When new people come in,
Mhm.
and I know this is again one of the things that we had spoken about before,
Right.
but do you find that it is easier to transition them from smoking to a mouth to lung device, or is it easier to do that with like a direct lung, an RDA, or a
Um,
tank? God, I forget about tanks.
I know. I know tanks are a thing. They have some really good tanks right now. But anyway, oof. The first question I ask them is, do you want it to hit just like a cigarette? Or have you ever hit somebody else's vape? And they're like, oh, I've hit this big box or I've hit this. So then I can determine whether they're able to hit something like a box and a tank or something like you have. But I'd say I'd say that's kind of split down the middle, whether they want an actual device or something that hits like a cigarette. But I always tell them if they're more comfortable with it, like the mouth to lung, it's more like a cigarette, they might do better. Not so scared of it, not so out of the ordinary. If it's the closest thing to a cigarette, they might have a better experience. It's easier. It's an easier transition from cigarettes to something that's still very similar, but yet you're still vaping. But it's kind of like a cigarette. So yeah, so I'm probably the mouth to lung. But
And
depends
that's
on the
what they
person.
transition to. Do they ever
Yeah.
go from mouth to lung to more of an RDA, a
Yeah.
tank, a direct lung?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Depends on the person. I mean, that's why I always tell people vaping is very subjective. I mean, the hit that you like is the hit that you like.
right.
And you know, you might like sometimes I like mouth to lung, but I can't vape like that constantly, like every day. So I have to determine what they really, in turn, the hit that they're trying to accomplish, really. And figuring that out sometimes is tricky. And we might go through a couple devices to do so, which is the other tricky part. But yeah, for the most part, I would say the mouth to lung is the most similar to a cigarette. So they tend to like that the most, I would say.
Now, see, I've got all these questions in the back of my brain, and I'm
Yeah.
like, which one am I going to
Yeah,
ask?
go ahead.
I look through your display cases,
Yeah.
and you have some newer equipment, but I notice that you don't turn around and you're not just catering to
No.
the vapor that's looking for the latest greatest.
No. Because the latest greatest is not always the greatest. I mean, it's just not. So we try to go quality over popular brand names, I would say. Um, Smoke, for instance, is a super popular vaping name. I have tried to carry less smoke products. I
Mhm.
run into more issues with them than some other products. I'm not saying that they're a bad company or a crappy company. I'm saying that there's maybe possibly better out there than that. So, yes. But I will have people come in and they'll ask if they continually ask me for something by a brand that I don't carry, I will bring it in. I'll bring it in because people want it. But I tell them I only brought it in because
People
everybody
are asking for
wanted
it.
and they are asking for it.
Otherwise,
So,
otherwise
correct.
it's not something that you would carry.
No.
Because I know, and I get
No.
around to a lot of different shops,
Yeah.
and I look and I see, and you see some shops that are high-end material
Yes.
only. You know, the newest whatever.
Mhm.
It takes 18 truck batteries,
Right.
and has a mod and a tank
Right.
this big, and some stores have the glass display cases that you walk in, and they look like they're so packed it looks like sardine cases
Yeah.
because they're trying to carry everything.
That's not it doesn't I have found personally, maybe some vape shops succeed that way. I have found that that is not the best route to go. For when you take a certain product and give somebody 10 choices versus 3 choices, they get too confused. They don't know what to do. It's too overwhelming. You know, they want to have a good understanding of all 10 devices, and you're never going to walk out of here with a great understanding of 10. But if I can give you 3, quality over, quantity, then now I've narrowed it down. You pick out of the 3 what I trust and what is a good device, and then we'll go from there. So I don't like to have cases just packed with ample amount. I can cater to everyone with fewer things in my case than overwhelming somebody with 500 choices.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that is not usually the route that I like to go.
See, it's what made me ask, because I got online this morning and I was just looking at some things because I was talking to Bill Wickstrom. He and I chat usually almost like every morning.
Oh, yeah.
But he asked me something, and I said, yeah, there's this store up in Cleveland. And I showed him their display case, and he went, what the hell is that?
Right.
Because there was not even a quarter-inch space between all the products, and that thing had 4 shelves in it, packed. And then there were 5 cases long.
And see, if
I'm
that,
like, my God.
If that's what you picked out of seeing those pictures to that vape shop, that's bad. I want you to pick out, oh, look how nice it looked, or look how clean the shelves are, or this and that. Not coming out of the vape shop and be like, look how packed it was, and this and that. See, that's a negative.
See, now the store in and of
to me.
itself, very nice,
Right.
clean,
Yeah.
well presented. But their display cases, I'm like,
yeah.
my God.
Sometimes it's too much to look at. It's too
Yeah,
much.
It's way too much.
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
too
handle
much.
it.
Honestly, reordering, now that I've started to like order and do some things like back end things at a vape shop, reordering all of that is not cost effective. Sometimes you have to cut product down a little bit to be able to reorder what you need for the next week. But if you're, if you have that much stuff that you need to continually reorder and your sales aren't where they need to be, you're gonna
Really?
kick yourself right in the butt. Yeah, because you're not gonna be able to reorder everything. I've been there, done that. It does not work like that. No.
Wow.
Yeah. It's more complicated than let's just carry everything. To be able to have money to reorder for a store that has cases with their sardines that look like sardine cans, that gets complicated.
Wow.
Yeah, that gets real complicated. And you don't realize that until you start doing some of the back end stuff,
And you see what's selling, what's not
exactly.
moving.
And then you just have wasted money just sitting in your case that you're not making any money on at all.
Money tied up in inventory that's collecting dust.
Exactly. You don't want that.
No, I don't.
No.
Some people might, but not me.
I'm good. I'm good.
Do you sell more MTLs, RDAs, or other?
Ooh. Definitely tanks.
Really?
I mean, I sell more tanks. Yeah, more sub-ohm tanks, things like the Freemax and the Falcon and the Aspire Cleto Pros and things like that. Yes, I sell more tanks. People like to build, but we've become, and I know it changes with demographic. I would say around here, we've become a little bit lazy vapors. I have lazy vapors. We build it for them. Yes, I still have a lot of people that use RDAs, but are you building on it yourself and are you doing it yourself? No, you're bringing it to me and we do it.
Right.
But yeah, more tanks.
Because people come in and they just want a coil to
That's
throw
it.
in a tank.
Yep,
and
coil,
that's the end
throw
of
it in, fill it up. It's super simple. My life is so busy. I don't have time for all this. I don't know what to do. Change my cotton. Just give me a tank. I've got a spare coil. I can do that. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Now that brought me up the minute that you said sub-ohm. When did you start vaping? How long ago?
I would say 7 years ago. 7
years?
Yeah, I would say about 7 years ago.
On the little tiny stick pens?
Yep, the little
the penguin pens?
Little tiny tank at the top that you just were like, I don't even know how you were hitting that and what kind of juice, and it was a 50-50 blend of juice, and they were all harsh.
And you had 10 mil, 5 mil bottles.
Yep.
And that's one thing you and I had spoken about before, was the transition from 30 mil used to be the thing.
Yes.
30 mil glass with the dropper top.
So terrible. Yes, so terrible.
And then they started moving into 60 mil.
Yeah.
And now you've got people that are in 100s, 120s. Do they have anything that's over a 120?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What's it come in? 55-gallon tank form?
180s. I know you know the company, One Hit Wonder, like Muffin Man, Milkman, My Man, all those. Those are 180 mil bottles. Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. They come in these huge, it's a lot of juice. I can't go through one flavor like that. Like, I need a 60 mil or maybe 100 mil, and then I need to switch to something else.
Do you have to have like an extra hand in order to?
Yeah, it's kind of like this, actually. It kind of looks like this. Yep.
God.
180 mils of juice.
Turn around and have something on the desk to grip your mod.
I know.
Another hand to hold the juice.
Yep, pretty much.
What was it like when you found transitioning from 30 mils to 60 mils? More as a manager. Was it cost effective? Did people, and I'm asking this because I know that when the sub-ohm tanks really started to take hold,
Yeah.
people started ripping through juice big time.
Yes. That's when you started to see the 60 mils more prominent. Was it cost effective at first? No. Like you'd buy a 60 mil and you're like, this is kind of pricey. Like this is crazy, even on the back end just to order it. And but later they figured it out that this is where everybody's going is the 60 mils, the 100 mils, the 120 mils. So in turn, all the wholesalers and distros, they've dropped their price. And now a 60 mil, it's not unordinary. It's $19.99. I mean, that's what we do our 60 mils here for. Is $19.99 across the board.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Because I know there are a lot of people that are still doing, 22, 25 for a 60
Well,
mil.
it's crazy because that's what you used to pay for a 30 mil. And
I
then
know.
that's more common for a 60 mil now. Yes, vaping has changed, and it has kind of changed with us and how we are vaping and the new inventive things. The juice companies, I think, did a pretty good job of revamping things as soon as those sub-ohm tanks kind of came out, and you are ripping through juice and you need more at a better cost and you need more juice. So
Yeah.
in turn, the 60 mils and the 120 mils and things like that for a better price. So yeah, they did adjust, thank God, because if they wouldn't have,
Yeah, nobody's going to pay $45
No.
for,
no.
a 60 mil.
And you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to.
As a manufacturer, I would agree.
Yes. you
Because
shouldn't have to.
I know what the cost is.
Right. Well, and let's be real. The goal is to get you off of cigarettes, and if I make this more expensive than cigarettes, I'm not doing anybody any good.
No.
This was supposed to be more cost effective and healthier. Not healthy, healthier. Let me be very clear on that.
There was a big hullabaloo on Facebook. I don't know if you've watched it and been able to take a look at it. They were talking that wonderfully shitty place called the Truth Initiative,
Okay.
trying to say that teen vaping, nicotine epidemic garbage, and they're touting this number of 56% out of 1,000, and they skewed their mathematics
Of course they did.
to where if you actually did the math, so many percent out of 1,000, so many, it boiled down to 1.5% out of 1,000 teens were actually using any nicotine products 10 plus days a month.
Okay.
It's like 33 out of 1,000.
Yeah, that's not.
Does that sound like an epidemic to you?
No. Heroin is an epidemic.
That is no shit.
That doesn't seem like such an epidemic. No. You're always going to have the underage things, whether it's alcohol or vaping or whatever.
All right.
I mean, you're always going to have this.
That leads me right into this question. Do you, at this store, have a problem with kids and jewels?
Oh, yeah. I have a problem with kids on any device. Joules,
Really?
Fixes, Kilos, big devices, little devices, whatever. I have 16, 17-year-olds coming in here all the time wanting things. No, sorry, you can't. Like, let me see your ID. Like, so they try, but then I send them on their way. They try.
Wow.
Yeah, they try.
See, now that's the one thing, because I haven't spoken to a lot of people, so I don't know.
Right.
Is this an actual issue at vape stores? How often? How many times a week does that actually happen on an average?
I'd say anywhere between maybe 3 to 5 times a week that it happens.
Really?
Yeah. If not more, if not a little less. That's definitely a broad number, because there's a lot of times too where I personally leave at 6, and sometimes the boys get some of the younger kids coming in the evening trying to buy things and this and that and the other. So that number could be a little bit skewed for me. I personally see it probably 3 to 5 times a week.
Wow.
And then sometimes I see it a couple times a day. And then I just peg them at the door. I'm like, you look 12. You seriously look 12. So
You're
it's
out
hard.
of here.
Yeah. Let me see your ID. So
Have you ever had any parents get in touch with you because their kids are vaping?
Yep.
What happened?
So I guess a particular instance came out. I had a mother call me. She had found a Fix device with a pod in it in her son's Letterman jacket. It was her son's friend's Letterman jacket, but I didn't know that. So basically she had called, what is this thing called? The Fix. It looks like it has some kind of something on the top of it. Can you tell me what it is? She wanted to know how many milligrams of nicotine her son was vaping, all these things. So I was basically like, well, he's actually vaping the highest milligram of nicotine that we carry. The fixed pods are 50% nicotine. So that's really high. So I explained to her about the device, what it does, how it works, the nicotine content in it. But I also told her, I said, here's the problem. I guarantee you we probably didn't sell it to him, but if his friend, Johnny or whoever came in to bought it and he's 18 and gave it to him, I can't stop that. That's what I can't stop, is having your friends that are 18 coming in and buying you things and taking it to you. I can't stop that. But yes, I have had parents call and find these vape things. What is this? What does it do? What is my son or daughter breathing in? Like all these things. So I give them the whole rundown. I'm like, listen, if they are smoking cigarettes and they've switched to vaping, that's the better switch. But is it okay? No, because it's still illegal. They are still underage. And then it's like, in turn, you have to decide whether the parents are going to let them continue to vape or not.
Do you have a lot of parents, or do you have any parents that come in and say, I know my child is vaping, and I'm going to purchase this, and you know that it's going to be going to the kid?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Drives me crazy. Puts me in a predicament where I know that, yes, I can sell it to the parents. I know you're giving it to them, but it's like that same thing with alcohol. If you go out and buy your son or daughter a beer, you're allowed to drink it in their presence, blah, 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 whatever. It's kind of the same thing with vaping. What am I to do? I am going to sell it to you. I'm not happy about it, but at least I try to instruct them, if they are going to vape, they're not smoking cigarettes, they just want to be cool or whatever. Like, vaping isn't cool, okay? It's not that it's like a cool thing or a bad, it's to help you quit smoking. And we've all created hobbies out of it, and careers and jobs and done all these things. But sometimes it takes me back to the basics. Like, if you didn't smoke, don't start vaping. What's the point? Or at least if you're going to do it, do a 0. So I try to at least tell the parents, like, if they're going to do that, at least get them a 0. I guess you could be doing worse things as a child. I mean, in this day and age, you could be doing worse things, but do I like it? No. But I don't know, that's what I say. It puts me in a predicament.
It does. You're in a spot that says, I'm a business and this is a legal transaction.
Right. But also it does, it kind of hits your moral and value as like a human being as well. Like some of this stuff, like, but I can't tell you what to do or how to parent your child. That is not my call. I will let them do that, but I will give, instruction and advice, at least if they're going to do it, to be safe and to do it the right way and try to do it with a 0 nicotine, not a 50, not a 3, not even a 3, just 0.
Now when you tell people that, when you tell parents that, do they try to get their kids?
Sometimes they're surprised because they didn't know what they thought they knew about vaping. So then sometimes I'm informing them and they're like, oh, yeah, let's do this instead. She's right. Or I don't care. I'm just, so I have some parents that just don't care. They vape a 3, my son vapes a 3, whatever.
Wow.
Okay. And then I just have to go on about my business, go on about my day. It's just what it is.
I noticed down on the other end of the counter are Juul pods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go through a lot of them?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. I reorder them every week, especially the mango pods. Everybody seems to like the mango.
Really?
Yep, and the cool mint. Mango and cool mint.
Okay, now people that are using Juul, do you find that there is kind of an age bracket that is a norm for that?
Younger college age kids is the big, or just right out of college, you've got a job, you're a server, whatever you are. It's something that they can stick in their pocket, maybe pull out real quick at work and hit it, nobody knows, or they can hit it in the bathroom. And again, my problem with that is when you smoked cigarettes, you didn't do those things. Like, that's why some people hate vaping so bad, is because we are not respectful vapors sometimes. You did not light up a cigarette in the bathroom and hit it. So don't do that with your vape either. I mean, okay, I've done it. Okay, I've done it. We're all guilty. I admit
Everybody is.
Okay, but I try, I don't sit there in a restaurant and hit my vape. You never sat in a when smoking was legal and this and that, but you never sat in a restaurant. Yes. You never sat in a restaurant and just lit up a cigarette. So your vape, wait, or go outside. Just be a respectful vapor. Don't make this more controversial than it already is. Just, you don't need people looking at you like a weirdo. They already look at you weird. You're vaping, So
let's take your average Juul user.
Yeah.
The pack of pods, because I've never bought them.
Okay.
Do they sell single packs, or do they come in a pack of 4 or 5, or
They come in a pack of 4. There's 4 pods in a pack. We personally sell them for $15.99 for 4 pods.
okay? So
I mean,
that's your normal.
hmm
How many of those does a typical Juul user go through?
a pod a day. A pod a day.
No shit.
Yes. They're
Well-
real tiny, little pod a day. And that's the thing. You're not supposed to hit it that often. Like, you're supposed to get your nicotine fix and put it away and put it back in your
That's
pocket.
if you're trying to transition from being a smoker to a
Correct.
vapor.
Yes.
Okay, but my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that a Juul pod is the equivalent of a pack of cigarettes.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so they're
I
having-
know. But Mike, what does a normal pack of cigarette nicotine content consist of?
I really don't know.
Right. So
Not that much.
I have, I guess, learned and heard and all these, anywhere between maybe like an 8 and 12 milligrams per cigarette, 50 milligrams per pod. Your intake of nicotine is much higher, but because it's much higher, you're able to kick the cigarettes faster.
Right, and those are a salt nick, correct?
Yes, those
not
are a salt nick.
a
Yes.
nicotine solution.
Correct. So it does enter your body a lot different and quicker and faster and all these things.
Yeah,
but
and that's why people like it,
Yes.
because it hits harder.
yes. I just didn't want to see this high nicotine thing start to be everybody's daily vape.
Right.
Once they were doing 3s and 6s, and now they've made all these high nicotine devices their daily vape. That's not the direction I wanted to see it go, but that's the direction it went.
Do you have salt nick based juice in bottles, 60
Yeah.
mils, things like that? Really?
Well, 30s. I haven't personally seen a 60 mil salt nick, but I guarantee you they probably have it. I mean, I'm sure that's a thing, but all of my salt nick juices are 30 mils, every single one of them.
People that are buying those, how often are they buying a 30 mil bottle? Often, not often?
I'd say every week and a half to a couple of weeks.
Okay, so they're
2
going
weeks.
through more like a typical
Correct.
60
Yeah.
mil
Mm-hmm.
for people that don't sit in chain vape.
Yes.
I
I
chain
just
vape.
don't think, well, yeah, but chain vaping on a 3 or a 6, I don't really have an issue with. But sitting here chain vaping on a 50 or like a 25 or a 30 or 45, that I have an issue with. I do. I don't
Right.
think that's what you're supposed to do.
No.
No.
Not at that kind of
No.
a nicotine strength.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, yes, nicotine, it's okay, but it still does stuff to your body. I mean, something about your artery. I'm not trying to be a doctor or whatever, but I know that much amount of nicotine can't be good for you. I mean, so again, with the whole vaping, do we have to make it more controversial than it already is?
Right.
I'm glad we have salt nick, the high nicotine. I can get somebody off of cigarettes way easier than I used to ever be able to with a 6 or a 12.
Really?
hmm Yeah, it happens a lot faster. It gives them that punch that they weren't getting from a 6 or a 12.
So you're able to wean people off of cigarettes or help them stop smoking combustible easier with
The
a
high
pod
nicotine.
system or
Mhm.
high nicotine,
Yep, 100%.
Juul fix,
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
Now, how often do those people that are doing that transition over to a 3 or 6, or do they just stick with a high nicotine?
Yeah, that transition doesn't happen as often as it used to, because these are much easier to use too. Like, you don't have to mess with a coil, you don't have to really mess with your juice. Well, some of the pre-filled pod systems are easy for people. So you stick a pod in it and you go. But I would like to see them go from 25, but it's hard. So I need salt nick. I know some brands do 25s, 50s, or 25s and 30s. I need there to be like 15s, 12s,
See, now I've heard the
things
Juul's
like
coming
that.
out with things that are like that. The lower nicotine level, 20s, 30s.
I don't know. Maybe a third-party Juul pod maker, yes, like Airbender or Fuma or something like that. But I don't think Juul themselves. I personally haven't seen them
Yeah.
offer a lower.
They can't in
Nicotine.
the United States because of the predicate date,
Right, exactly.
and that's a real pain in the ass.
But yes,
We're going to take a minute and do a quick sponsorship show. And because without the sponsors, Smoke Free Radio could not do what it does. So please, if you would, stop, check out the sponsors that we've got. Check them out. Go to their website, check out their stuff. And we'll be right back. Go ahead.
Hey now, this is Dimitri with Smoke Free Radio reminding you to please show some love to our wonderful sponsors. Without them, there would be no Smoke Free Radio, and they are as follows. All the way from Florida, Moon Mountain Vapor, with locations in Florida and their liquid available for wholesale and retail, moonmountainvapor.com. Some of the best custards and tobaccos on the market from the Brickwills Vaping Company. The lovely Shell with a vapor bar, locations in Texas, Virginia, and West Virginia. And of course online at thevaporbar.com. And who says you can't have award-winning e-liquid without cartoon characters? That's exactly what you're going to get at theplumeroom.com. And finally, of course, the Vaping Advocate magazine that has generously provided the telephone lines for you to communicate with us. Thank you for your support. And finally, for you, the listener, don't forget to check out the coupons and codes page on Smoke Free Radio. Pick up some e-liquid and save some money. From all of us here at Smoke Free Radio, thank you for your continued support.
Hey folks, P. Basardo here, and you're listening to Roadside Assistance with Mike Peterson.
We're back with Michelle at Rocco's Vape Lounge.
Here
Before
we
I
are.
get off topic, I did a show called Rewind
Yes.
just the other night, and I was with Fig Ramsey, who's out on the West Coast. Fig is awesome.
Fig's great.
I was asking him a couple of questions, and all of a sudden he goes, "Why don't you just record this for your show?" I'm like, "Are you kidding?" He goes, "No." Oh, okay.
Yes.
I hooked everything
Why
up.
not?
Yeah. And I forgot to enable the audio for the first 10 minutes. I'm sitting there talking, and finally I look down, and the meter is not moving. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Fig goes, "What?" Because we could hear each other through
Right.
Zoom,
Right.
but the broadcast software was not picking anything up. And I'm like, Fig, we gotta. So I said, I'll edit the first 10 minutes out.
Right.
You were talking about food a moment ago.
You okay? Yep.
Okay. It just way off topic.
Okay.
So you order out, yes?
For here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the mainstay?
Oh boy. We order a lot of Antones here. A lot of pasta.
Really?
Yep. Yep. And well, plus it's 2 plazas over, and we can just run and pick it up real quick and just get it. Yep.
What days are typically your busiest here at the store? Because I know that we spoke, and Tuesdays when you're here at this time of day,
Are
right
usually the
around noon, 1
slowest.
o'clock. It's safe, not too bad.
Right. I do believe Thursdays are a busy day. I know Fridays and Saturdays are busy, and oddly enough, Sundays get very busy.
Really?
I don't know why.
People
I don't
coming
know
in to
why.
pick up material
I
before they go
guess.
back to work?
Well, and a lot of times too, there's not a lot of vape shops in the area that I think are open on Sundays. There's a few, but I mean, I don't know. It was always before, if you burn out a coil on Sunday, what are you going to do? No vape shops were open, so we open on Sundays, and we will utilize that time. Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if it's busy
Yeah.
and there's a call for it,
Mhm.
Open your door, even if you've only got one or two people
Yeah.
here.
Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays. Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
it's pretty. I mean, I'd probably have to look at the numbers to tell you exactly the busiest days, but I do know Fridays and Saturdays, the weekends get busy for sure.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to ask simply because I see it sitting in front of you. What are you
Oh,
vaping on?
what do you
And
mean?
we're going to say this is our famous shameless plug.
So I may or may not be vaping on something called Chilled Fusion by Two Stone, none other than. But it's real funny though too. Honestly, I vaped your juice. The Boston Harbor we all know is my favorite, but this strawberry mint menthol. I don't like menthols. I don't do menthols. I don't really, well, mints maybe if it's a wintergreen, but I do like this. There is something, Mike, that you have done to this juice. Maybe you put crack in it. Maybe.
Do you know somebody actually said, dude, that's liquid crack? I'm like, time
Right.
out.
Yeah.
It is not a drug.
Right.
There is no.
That's what they always tell people. If you blow through a bottle of juice or something that you like, that's not something that you would normally like. We always say you put crack in that juice,
Yeah.
didn't you? But yes, you did. You did a very good job
Now,
with this strawberry mint
in
menthol.
all honesty, that was Alex.
Yeah.
Alex turned around and he wanted something.
It's good.
And he's got his own story to tell you, how he actually made it. But 2 years running in this thing. Yes, it's old as dirt. It is
We
still
know.
going strong.
We
And for
know.
anybody that's watching or listening, I bought this RDTA from Michelle when she worked at another store 2 years ago. When I first met her, that's when I bought this thing.
Still kicking.
It's still
kicking.
trucking along.
Yep.
Yeah, the mod came, a guy by the name of Mike Wynyard.
Yeah,
The
I
mod
know Mike,
came
yep.
from Vapor Stream
Okay.
over in Girard,
Mhm.
and he put the wood wrap on it. And it just goes to town.
Yeah.
Which is curious. Do you find people to buy more single coil, double coil, dual coil, or are they going in for
Dual.
really?
If it's an RDA, dual all day. Unless maybe they're squonking with it and they'd like a single coil RDA, because I feel like that sometimes is a little bit better for squonking. But again, vaping is very subjective and that's a personal preference maybe. But I would say more dual coil
You
and
say
things like
squonking.
RDA. Yeah.
How do you like that, or is it not one of your favorite things?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes like I wake up one day and I'm like, ooh, squonking. I'm going to use my squonk box today. And then I'm like, I'm kind of over it. I haven't been able to actually stick with it, like squonking. I don't know why, because it's just like dripping, but it makes it easier for me. And I don't know why. Maybe I just haven't found the exact right RDA or box, or I don't know. Or maybe it's just not for me. I don't know. I think it's very convenient. I love it. We sell them. But I don't do it all the time. No.
I'm the
No.
same way. I picked
Yeah.
up one by Tony B, the Pulse,
Yeah.
and put
Vandy
the
Vape.
Pulse 24 on it.
Yeah.
Now, the Pulse 24 was supposed to be a dual coil top.
Yes.
And of course, me at 45 watts,
Right.
I put a single coil in it.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it works great.
Right.
I can sit there, it's a squeeze bottle, have a good time. What,
That's
5,
nice.
7 mil worth of
Mhm.
juice. But I can't get over this thing. It's 5
Right.
mil, and it just
Yeah,
it's
see,
an
that's
all
where
day.
I'm at. It's just there's something about dripping, and I don't know. There's just something about it that I very much enjoy.
Well, and the last time that I was down, I brought I finally got an RDA from Vaporgate, and we took a look at that. And I find that the flavor of dripping is even different than on the RDTA,
Yes.
which is different yet from squonking,
Yes.
which is different yet from a tank
A tank.
and a
Yes.
coil.
Yes.
The same 3 milligram juice
Mhm.
has a different flavor profile across all of these things.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like, what the hell?
I know, and that's the thing. Every RDA and RDTA, everything's built different. Whether it has the dome and what it's shaped like, and the airflow, and your RDTA, it pulls juice all the way from the bottom all the way up top. So it's sometimes you can't rip on them. You got to leave them time to catch up. I mean, that just again, personal preference. It's what you like.
Yep.
They all operate different, but yes, I've found the dual coil a little bit more vapor production, a little bit better flavor. But I always tell people I can get you that same kind of flavor, pretty much the same hit with a single coil. You just need to adjust your build. You need to adjust the wire a little bit.
Mhm.
That's it. But people don't get that. They don't know.
No, unless they
Right.
started to build, unless
Yeah.
they know
Right.
But as you had mentioned one time, people don't want to stop to learn Ohm's law
No.
and battery safety.
No.
They just want something to vape
Right.
and let me go.
But if they're buying something and they've never used these 18650s or anything like that before, they're getting a little lesson before they leave, whether they like it or not.
Yep. But
And
it's
that's
the thing.
just how I do
as
it.
long as they're vaping, they're not smoking.
Correct. Yes.
And that's a huge, huge thing.
Huge.
Does your store do parties?
Yeah.
Like, do you throw a Halloween party?
I was just going to say, we just got done with our Halloween party.
How'd it go?
It went fantastic. We had food, prizes, pumpkin carving contest, costume contest.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of costumes did you have come in here?
Oh, gosh. There was somebody from the movie Up. I think he ended up winning the costume contest. I don't know anything about it, but I'm pretty sure that was everybody's favorite. I had somebody dress up like an old lady. I had some bloodied up people. I'm not really sure what they were supposed to be, but whatever. I was a firefighter. What else? Trey was a nerd.
You
I don't
said
remember.
nurse?
Nerd. Sorry.
That's what I thought
nerd.
you said.
Yeah,
I'm like,
nerd.
okay, did she say nerd? Wait a minute.
Nerd. Yep.
You have a pocket protector?
Yep. Glasses
pendant?
taped up, suspenders.
Oh,
Like Steve Urkel.
that's
Yeah.
got to be the awesome.
Yeah. It was
Here
a good
is
time.
an odd question.
Oh, I like odd. Here we go.
Does your store ever do cloud comps?
Yes and no. We haven't had one for a long time. They used to be a lot more popular, and I don't know if that's an area demographic thing. But again, like I feel like cloud comps used to be like tube mech mods and like, dual battery mechanical boxes and things like that. That was more the cloud comp. I've noticed that, well, I mean, I don't even have any tube mechs in my case right now to sell. Those kinds of things I feel like have phased out a little bit around here. I know that they're still big because they still sell and I see tons of people using them. Around here, they don't do too well. So as far as cloud comps go, we haven't had one in probably like a year.
Really?
And then if you do have one, it's like maybe you get like 10 people to, participate in it, which is cool. I mean, we'll still do them, but it's not as big as what it used to be.
No, way back when in the
But
day.
it's like that's when building used to be everybody's favorite thing, and vaping was new. And look what I did. Look at my build. Look at this. Look at that. Like it's not like that anymore necessarily, or at least around here, it's not like that anymore. It's kind of sad. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell Alex that. He turned around. Shelley took the Wise Mix, the 3 battery Wise Mix, and the 30 millimeter Mason RDAs. Well, Alex took. There's supposed to be a dual coil.
Yeah.
He built one with a quad coil.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God! Do you know who's using it? Shelley.
Of course she is.
I'm like, really?
I know.
And she's
what kind
running
of
like
wattage
90
is she
watts,
running? Yeah.
100 watts.
Yep, blowing through juice.
I said, here, honey, you want to use? She looks at me like, you're joking, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not
I
joking.
think Vaporgate just came out with something called the Colorado or something. I'm so sorry, Vaporgate, if I screwed that up. But I mean, this thing, I don't even know. It's got to be this big around. I mean, you can put like 12 coils in this sucker. Like, I need a map of which posts are negative and positive, or I probably wouldn't be able to build on it. I'll blow the thing up. I mean, it's wild. He's crazy. Those Vaporgate people, they're wild. I love it. But yeah, stuff like that just doesn't around here. Just doesn't sell anymore.
So what do you
It's
do?
sad.
You just take the top off of your 60 mil?
I mean, you might. Yeah, I mean, you might as well just pour the whole 60 mil in the RDA and call it a day. I don't know. Yeah, you need the 180 mil bottle to carry it around with you. Yeah.
I did see, and I cruised through Facebook and I look at things. Somebody had, and it was a big RDA, and I think it's rather new, but they had 4 coils stacked on top of each other, and on the other side they had 4 more.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what's the purpose?
do you
of
have
it?
the lungs of King Kong to even hit this thing? I'm like, really?
I know. I don't.
One hit, you're gonna pass out.
Right. See,
But this
battery
guy,
life.
he grabbed a hold of that thing. He was trucking. I'm like, well, we know that doesn't have any nicotine in it. That doesn't.
Exactly. And if it does, it's like a 0 or a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, somebody call 911. I'm gonna hit this, and we're gonna go to the hospital.
Exactly.
When you started picking up, because you and I had spoken about the high nicks and the salt nick, You now typically only stock what nicotine levels?
Zeros, threes, and sixes.
Do you stock
It.
12s?
No.
Really?
Yep. Nope. There's no need for them anymore. Why? I mean, you're going to put a 12 in your sub-ohm tank, which I, again, feel is unnecessary. I can get you where do you need to be with a 6 in a sub-ohm tank. Putting 12s in there, and especially with the regular nicotine, it's more harsh. It's more throaty. When I first started vaping, I always wished I could get a 6 to not be so throaty. I wish Salt Nic, sometimes I wish they'd start using Salt Nic in regular juice. I don't know why they don't. Maybe there's a reason for that, and that's just me kind of like thinking. But like when I first started vaping, I needed a 6, but it was too harsh for me. I just did not like that throat hit at all. So I just did a 3, but I was blowing through juice. So, I mean, I get it, but yeah, 0s, 3s, and 6s across the board. 12s.
That's where I'm at, because I noticed that when I turn around and I watch Rewind with Fig,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm chain vaping this thing, and I'm like, I think now, typically I do any kind of a show, it's usually like an hour.
Yeah.
Well, Fig and I started at 12:30 at night.
Oh boy.
And we finished it almost 2:45 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm like, oh my God, but neither one of us really saw the time going by.
No.
But I noticed I refilled this thing 3 times, and that's a 5 mil tank. I'm like, oh my God.
That's why I can't use tanks. Like, I swear, I go through so much. I'm the exact opposite. I feel like I should go through more juice when I drip. No, I go through so much more juice when I use a tank because I'm just like,
It's exactly
like I don't
what
have to stop. I don't have to take this off. I don't have to re-drip. I just keep hitting it until the sucker's empty and I'll fill it back up. So I run through juice if I'm using a tank or something like that.
Now, today, running the audio and running the video portion, producing the show for me, is my daughter Alicia.
Yes.
Because we can look right over, we can see her. Her room is right next to my work area.
Oh boy.
And there are times that she will come in and go, Dad, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Getting vaped out.
Yeah, you walk in and it's like it's a cloud.
Right.
From waist level up. You can't see anything. And you'll just come in and turn the ceiling fan on.
Right.
Click.
You need to get an air purifier in there. Suck it out.
That's one thing I never thought of.
They make them. We used to have them in here. There's like a company, I forget what they're called. It's like specifically for vape. It's supposed to suck like that thick vapey air out. Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't work very well in here. This is way too big of an area. But if you had like 1 or 2 in your little room, that might work. Look at something to look into, Mike.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Right.
Well, I sit back there and I'm working on things, or producing shows, or doing more graphics or something, working for the company.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
and that's it. That's just what you do.
Refilled, and I'm empty. Damn it.
Yep.
I did that the other day. I actually wrote down when I opened a bottle.
Okay.
And when I finished it.
And when you finished it. How many days?
3.
Not bad on a 60 mil. That's
3 days, and it was toast. I'm like, okay, I guess I can live with that, but still.
Right. It's kind of a lot. Well, I don't know. I work at a vape shop. I'm no judge on how fast you go through battery life or juice or anything. My job is to sit here for 8 hours a day and vape and change my batteries and vape juice and yeah. So I'm the worst judge for that. So I'll blow through bottles real fast. Yeah.
During your day, I've noticed from time to time when I stop in that you have a pod system.
I do.
See, she's even got it in her pocket.
I do. It's called the Kilo. It's the 1K, which drives me crazy. Kilo. The K1 just flows out of my mouth so much better. I think K1's a drug, though. Maybe that's why they didn't call it that. Anyway, I do. I have a pod system. Just like everybody else, I'm guilty. Like I said, I know the Salt Nic thing, but I don't use it like that. I use it at home. It doesn't vape up the house and things like that. Not that, some people have that problem, but
right.
Yeah, it's just real simple. I do use it, but I tend to try not to sit here and just continually hit 50 milligrams of nicotine constantly.
I see that in more shops than I care to even think about. Yeah,
I know.
They'll take 4 or 5 hits on their Salt Nic, and then they go grab their sub-ohm.
Yeah.
And drip, and I'm like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I might pull it out and hit it a couple times here at the shop for sure. I definitely do use it. Or if I'm at the case helping somebody and I don't feel like grabbing this, I'll take this and grab it. Or I'll show them what I'm using. As an example, this is a high nicotine device, the pods, this is how it works, this and that and the other. But yeah, I do own one. I have one.
Is there a reason that you chose the Kilo over the Jewel? Or
I've had them all. When the Jewel first came out, I used the Jewel. I tried that. It was okay. And then I tried the Fix. And then honestly, I was just kind of sick of the Fix flavors. And so then I tried the Kilo. Plus, I do like to use some of these pod systems just to know what I'm getting myself into. It's easier for me to sell something if I have used it. And I
you're
have,
knowledgeable about
yes,
it.
I'm troubleshooting it. I'm doing this. Oh, the pod's leakier if you do this, or if it's half empty, whatever it may be.
Right.
But the Kilo tended to have a little bit more of a variety of fruity flavors, which is more my kind of speed. But I actually have a milk coffee pod in here right now that I thoroughly enjoy.
Really?
But I've noticed the Fix pods, for me personally, are a little bit more throaty. I mean, the Kilo pods are a little bit more throaty than the Fix. That's a downfall for me, but yeah.
I remember coming down here and buying a Fix.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh,
I remember that too.
my God.
Yeah.
I wanted, and I was trying to demonstrate, even for my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Because, and he, God bless him, he's trying, he's learning.
Yeah.
And he asked a lot of questions.
Right.
And he said, what's the difference with what is it that I'm hearing about kids' nicotine and all this?
Yeah.
So I went to grab the Fix and show him, this is what it looks like. And he's looking at it. And I looked, I pulled the pod out, and it's brown.
Yeah.
I'm like, he goes, why is it that color? I said, because it's been about 2.5 or 3 months since I even fired this thing up.
Yeah.
So I threw that out, put a
new pod in.
Took 2 hits and went, oh.
Yeah.
That was enough.
Yeah.
There's no more after that.
No.
I'm not doing that.
Right. Yeah, some people don't like them. Some people can't hit them. Some people it's too much. I don't know.
Online sales. Does Rocco's have online sales?
We do not. We do not.
And is it by choice, or is it by more necessity, or you just find that it would not be worth your time?
I think it would be, not that it wouldn't be worth our time, but it would be a lot of extra things to do, and shipping and processing and this and that, and making sure you have the stock that you need to fill the online orders, but still have things in your cases and things like that. But honestly, I really feel like once you start doing online sales, it takes away from, the relationship that you build with the customer. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing online sales. But if you have a problem with your device and say you do live maybe a couple hours away, I can't help you. I maybe can troubleshoot some things over the phone,
Right.
but it's like you would then in turn have to go to your local vape shop and take the device in there, and they can help you and do things like that. I mean, online I think is a good thing for certain shops and this and that and the other, and I think it would be beneficial in some things, and I think it would be a downfall in others.
Because I've spoken to different stores, and they
Yeah.
have, some stores have online capability, some do not.
Right.
Some places are saying online capability is killing
Mhm.
their business.
I do. I mean, I have a lot of people that ask, "Oh, do you do online? Do you do online?" Or they're moving, and they like us, and they want this juice or this and that and the other. Do we have online? No. So a lot of times, if we have a good customer, and they're moving out of state, I'll just call me, text me something. We'll ship it to you. So we do things like that for people sometimes. Yes. But as far as an online store, no. But we're very social media, Instagram, Facebook. We always post our new products and this and that. And
Right.
you can message us, and Nick or Brent will get back to you and things like that. So, yeah.
How often do you go through, rotate? And I don't mean rotate as in sell out and reorder.
Okay.
But how often do you close lines out and bring new lines in?
I would honestly say probably there's a new juice that comes through the shop every 2 to 3 weeks. For sure. For sure. If it's a whole line or just a new flavor, and sometimes it's weekly. It's like, oh, this new flavor and this new flavor. Either we'll get rid of, if we have room, we'll just put it on the shelf. But if we don't have room, we'll take a juice that we've had for a while that has slowed down in sales immensely
Mhm.
and stick it over in our clearance bin and sell it for $11.99 for a 60 mil and call it a day and move the juice. And then we reorder and we can get new things in. But I'd say probably every couple of weeks we're trying to bring in a new juice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I know that I've gone to stores that have the juice wall from hell.
Yeah.
And I look at these places and I'm like, how do you not get somebody new coming in that they have juice paralysis?
Right.
There's no way that they can make up their mind because you have 8 apple pies.
Yeah. And going back to that thing you talked about, sardine cans and cases and too many devices, it's the same thing with juice. And honestly, Nick and Brent were just talking about that, how we kind of need to downsize our wall a little bit. You know, you want to have something for everybody, but at the same time, it can get too big. And then it's, okay, how long has that juice sat on my shelf? Has it steeped too long? Is it okay to even sell anymore? You know, and then you've got juice that's closer to the window and you have to be careful with that. So yeah, you don't want to overload your juice wall or you're going to come into more problems, not only just standing money just sitting on your shelf that's not selling, but is it gonna age? Is it gonna steep? Is it not gonna taste right after a while?
We're going to talk about steeping for a minute.
Okay.
It wasn't this summer, but the summer before that we went to Midwest Vapor Expo in Columbus.
In Columbus, yes.
And that's where we met Austin Hopper.
Yes.
Austin was awesome.
Yes.
Whole lot of stories to go right along with that.
That was fun.
But ironically, somehow I stashed away some juice from that show.
Okay.
Now, 18 months later,
yeah,
you would think there is no way in hell. You might try it. More than likely you're not, because you're going to pull it out and it's going to be brown.
Right.
Oxidation from nicotine,
yep.
all those kinds of things.
Right.
I pulled out a bottle of Boston Harbor.
Okay.
It is clear as crystal.
Nice.
Even the 6 milligram
really
is clear as glass.
That's crazy.
I went, oh my God. So, of course, I had to pop open a 3.
Well, yeah.
You
got to try it.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I've never run into that. I was amazed. And I got in touch with a couple of guys, and they didn't believe me. And I said, look, you can still see, and I held it right up to the camera, right. You can still see the seal is on here. I know exactly when this was made because I took it to this show, and I shook it back and forth, and it's not clumped. It's not nothing. I went, wow.
I mean, sometimes... whatever. See, I knew you were putting crack in your juice, Mike. I knew it. I knew there was something odd about your juice. Listen, some very select few, are better after they've steeped a while.
I've noticed that.
But more, I'd say, desserty, not necessarily fruity. Sometimes fruits that steep too long get kind of weird and wonky. But like some desserts, for instance, like Philip Rock, Creme de la Creme, Grand Reserve. I just forgot I had a bottle, half full. A year later, I'm like, this is going to be disgusting. Whatever. I dripped it. It was so good. It was so good. My nicotine probably is no longer after. When does nicotine start to dissipate? Like 6 months-ish, something like that. Yeah. So, but
it depends on how much.
But as far as the flavor went, it got better. It got better. But that's not the norm. That's not the norm.
You and I had this part of the conversation once before about talking about the difference of nicotine and how it actually affects the flavor of the juice line.
Yes.
You know, people say 0s, 3s. To me, there is a very definitive difference between a 0 and a 3.
Same.
Whether it is fresh, as in the manufacturer just made it and shipped it, or whether it's been sitting, steeping 2 weeks, a month, month and a half, whatever.
Yep.
So when you order or when you get any samples in, do you get samples in 0 or do you get samples in 3?
No, I specifically asked them for 3s.
So after a brief power outage,
back in business.
And folks, here's a learning experience. If you're at any place and you have a laptop and you're doing any kind of work, don't put it on a build mat because it holds the heat.
Nope.
That's like, wrong. We were cruising along talking, all of a sudden the whole thing blinked out. I'm like, come on. All right, so tell me.
Yeah.
What's one of the favorite aspects that you have of working here in a vape shop, if not specifically at Rocco's?
The people. My favorite thing is the people. It's just what it is. I love my customers. You start to build, I would say, a personal relationship with them. Like they'll take a vacation, then you ask them about their vacation, they come back and they need a coil. That's my favorite part. I like to try to learn everybody's names. That's never going to happen. But I don't know, it's nice when you walk through the door and it's like, hey Mike, how are you? How was that trip you took, or that vape convention that you went on? Or I can't remember what it was, but I know you went somewhere.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that's nice. You remembered. Yeah. So you build that relationship. That is my absolute favorite part. Absolute.
Let's go to the other end of that spectrum. What is one of the worst things of working in a vape shop?
Personally, for me, it would be, I would have to say, things that like break on people, or something that I sold you, that I told you that was going to last this long and be so great, and then you come and see me in 4 days and it's broken. That's terrible, and it makes me feel awful.
Really?
And yeah, I hate that part. I hate that. And it's like especially if they're brand new to vaping and they're like, ugh, my cigarettes never broke like this, my lighter never acted like this, so it's like, okay, what can I do to get you to not be discouraged about vaping? Fix the problem, get you a new device, try to return that one. Main goal, send you out this door so you come back and that you're happy. So whatever I have to do to get to that point, and sometimes there is nothing that I can do, but I will try. I said that's probably my least favorite, is when people have a bunch of issues with vaping devices. It's probably my least favorite.
If you could tell a brand new smoker that is going to transition to vaping, what would be 3 things that you would tell them off the bat? What reasons would you give them that you can think the most of? That you would say, hey, you are going to experience whatever.
Number 1, I always tell people, it's like one of those questions, like, are you seriously ready to quit smoking? Like, mentally, are you ready to put the cigarettes down?
Why do you ask them that?
Because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. If you come into the vape shop, or I don't even care if it's Nicorette or Chantix or any of these other, smoking alternatives, if you are not mentally ready to put the cigarettes down, because I've seen it too many times. They're not really ready, but their husband or their wife, you got to quit smoking. I'm so tired of this, and you're, whatever, or you're not breathing right, or you're getting asthma all the time, whatever it is. I just lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? I'm too young for this. What were we talking about?
What would be 3 things that you would tell people? 3 reasons why.
Yeah. If
Here
you're
we
not,
go.
Oh boy,
She'll
rubbing
reboot
off
herself.
on me.
Yeah, she'll reboot herself in a couple of minutes.
But yeah, first thing, are you ready mentally to quit smoking? Because if you're not, it's not going to work. I can give you all the vaping devices in the world, and it's not going to work. That's number 1. Number 2, somebody that's first starting to vape, you definitely have to get them a device that they're comfortable with.
As in what?
If it's too much work, or if it's too much of a coil change or something like that, they have to be comfortable with that device. Like this is probably going to make some people uncomfortable. That's not what they're going to go to. They'd rather, have something like this.
So brand new people to vaping are picking up pods more than they are sub-ohm tanks?
Mm-hmm. I would say so. Now.
Because it's easier to take a pod in, throw a new pod in, continue moving.
Mm-hmm.
And they can vape till their heart's content.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's 2. What's the 3rd thing?
What was the question one more time? I swear to God.
She's not normally like this. This is cracking me up because you're sitting there, your brain is going a million miles a minute on like 800 things right now.
I know. Let me back up. Re-ask me the question about that blooper thing we were talking about. This is going to be one of them. Ask me the question one more time.
What would 3 things that you would tell a brand new vapor? You said the first one
Yes, brand new
was,
vapor.
are you
Yes.
ready to quit?
Yes. Are you ready to quit mentally? Second, find something that you're comfortable with so you don't get discouraged.
Right?
And then the third thing is I always tell them pick a juice that you see yourself being able to vape all day long. Something that just tastes so good that you're not going to want to put it down. Like, don't put it down. That's the other thing I tell people when they first, like, I don't care if you take it into the bathroom with you. Try not to drop it into the toilet because that happens. But take
Are
it
you serious?
Swear to God. So many people come in here. I dropped it in the toilet. I dropped it in
Oh,
a puddle.
my
I've,
God.
I was getting into the shower and I dropped it in the tub. Like, what? Okay.
Do
Whatever.
they not understand this is an electronic device?
Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I had to re-ask this question 5 times. So, I mean, I can't say anything about anybody else. But yes.
Did you ever drop your mod in the toilet?
No.
Okay.
No.
There we have it. We're safe.
Keys, yes. Vape, no.
You dropped your keys in the toilet?
I did one time, yes. My whole lanyard went right into the toilet because I had my keys in my pocket. So then when I went to go to the bathroom, right in the toilet, my lanyard went. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? This isn't even my toilet, so it's even worse. What am I going to do? But it was my favorite lanyard. My sister got it for me. So here I am taking this thing to the sink, washing it out. And then I went home and bleached it. Anyway, find a juice that you're most comfortable with. You can vape it all day.
Out of all of the juice that you carry on your wall, what is one of your most favorite?
Ooh, that's so hard. I'm a sucker.
Juice paralysis.
I know, honestly. I'm a sucker for anything like peach and mango. We do have this juice right now. Juicehead makes it. Juicehead, you put crack in your juice too. Peach pear. I don't know what it is about this juice, but the fact that the peach is perfect, the pear levels it out. It's just, I sell 25 bottles a week of this peach pear by Juicehead.
Wow.
Stupid.
Wow.
One of my favorites. It has to be one of my favorites. Yep.
That's awesome.
Hands down.
All right, folks. This is Michelle here at Rocco's with Roadside Assistance. I appreciate you taking time.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a blast.
Yes.
We'll do this again in about a few months. I'll come back and...
Fantastic.
But this time I'll come back with good questions.
That's good. Maybe I'll try to remember the question.
I'll put them on note cards for you.
Fantastic.
That you can sit, what would I do if...
You got to dumb it down for me sometimes, Mike. Sometimes.
You would just sit there and look at me. I'm not going to answer that question. No. Throw it off to the side. I know you.
I'll make up my own questions.
All right. Until next time, everybody, I will catch up with you again on Roadside Assistance. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.